Okay, we're going to start finding areas of different shapes, and we're going to start with the area of a rectangle and the area of a triangle. Now, you would have done these in Year 9, so this is just really revision. Now, what is area? Area is the measure of a surface, like the surface of your desk or the floor, without any depth, just the top of it. You measure area in square units, so it's either millimeters squared, centimeters squared, meters squared, kilometers squared, and a special area of hectares. So we could measure area by counting squares. Now if each of these squares was 1 centimeter squared, so each of these is 1 centimeter squared, we could actually add them up and find out the area by adding up all the squares. Now these are whole squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know there's 5 there. Now those two could make up another square, 6. These two could make up another one, 7. These two another one, 8. Let's see, this one, that one, and that one could be 9, and that one and that one 10, so maybe 10.5 centimeters squared. Okay, so it's an unusual shape, it's a bit tricky to work out how many squares there are. Okay, now we're going to work out the area of just the regular shapes now. So the first one's the rectangle. Now what is a rectangle? It's these are right angles, these sides are parallel, these two sides are parallel. It's a rectangle, and the sides are at right angles to each other. So how do we find the area of this kind of shape? Now we have to know the length of one side, and we'll call that the base. So you need to know what the length of that side is, called the base, and the length of this side, and we'll call it the height. And so it's just base times height, and you'll see it as area equals BH, base times height. Now you may see it as length times width, or LW, depending on what book you're looking at. But you only need the length of one side and the other side, and you multiply them together. So if this side was 10 centimeters, this side was 6 centimeters, and because the other side's the same, you only use one of those dimensions. The area equals 10 times 6, which is 60 centimeters squared, because you're actually multiplying 10 centimeters times 6 centimeters. So you get centimeters squared. And what you've found is the area of that top of that rectangle. Okay, now area of a triangle. Let's move that down. Now a triangle is actually half of a rectangle. So here's your rectangle. If you put a line through the middle, you get a triangle. And so the formula is a half the base times the height. Or you might see it as a half BH, or BH over 2, or BH divided by 2. That's probably the easiest one to put into your calculator. Now it has to be the perpendicular height onto the base. So it's perpendicular, the perpendicular height onto the base. That's important that you know that. Okay, here's a regular triangle. The first one, if you're given the base, let's put some numbers on here. Let's say it's 15 centimeters and the height is 16 centimeters. The area is base times height divided by 2, and so we go 15 times 16 divided by 2, and you should get 120 centimeters squared. Now notice the height is this one down here. Don't use the slant height. Here's the base, and so you look over to the opposite vertex, and that's where you have to have the height from onto that base. Now here's a right angled triangle, so in that case, right angled triangle, let's say the base is 4.8 meters, and the height becomes one of the sides, so 3.7 meters. Here's your base, look over to the opposite vertex, here's your height coming down here. It happens to be one of the sides if it's a right angled triangle. So the area equals base times height divided by 2, which is 4.8 times 3.7 divided by 2, and it comes out to 8.88 meters squared. Okay, now just alert you to two other types of triangles. Sometimes triangles kind of fall back on themselves. Now, if this is given, the base is 3 meters. Okay, we go over to the opposite vertex. Here it is here. And we have to drop a perpendicular onto the space. Now that has to be extended. And here's that has to be your height, and it's outside the triangle. So let's say that height is 4 meters. So the area here, base times height divided by 2. It's good to keep writing that so you remember it. And so it's just 3 times 4 divided by 2, which is 6 meters squared. And also, it doesn't always have to be sitting on its base. You might be given 12 meters here. Okay, you're given a height onto that base of 8 meters, and you might be given this side here. Now you have to use, because you've got this height, it's onto this base. That isn't used at all. So the area is base times height divided by 2, which is 12 times 8 divided by 2, which is 48 meters squared. Okay, now go to your booklet and complete that page on the pages on rectangles and triangles.